toughest stadiums. So I like this topic for one reason. So EA College Football 26 just released its toughest places to play. Now, it's a video game. Make what you want out of it. But Tennessee wasn't even in the top 10.
And that's 2 years in a row.
What,
I want to give
stadium?
up. I want to give a shout out to Dallin in TikTok chat as he was talking earlier. You know, Tennessee holds the record for the highest decibel ever during a college football game. And that means something. I mean, we've had people like Baker Mayfield. We've had people like Brady Quinn. Numerous people have said, you know, Neyland Stadium is the loudest stadium I've ever played in. I believe it was Baker Mayfield. No, sorry, it was Brady Quinn back. This is during the Eric Ainge days, man. We're going back a ways. He said that at one point during that game, his center turned around and looked at him and said, "Dude, the ball is moving." Like the stadium was so loud and rocking so much that without putting his hand on it, that ball was moving on the ground. So that just shows you how loud it is. And that definitely means something. He also brought up the 22 Alabama game. The fans impacted that game many different times. I mean, I'm thinking of one drive in the first quarter where Alabama was backed up deep in their own territory, got 3 false start penalties? I mean, that was 100% on the fans by the Alabama players not being able to hear the snap count, either jumping early or getting it was actually delay a game or false start right there, 3 in a row down inside the 10-yard line. So things like that is some of the things that make it hard to play. And Tennessee is absolutely one of the toughest places in the nation to play in.
Oh, yeah. So I have a hard time ranking because I can't find how I would like to rank them. So in my opinion, toughest stadiums doesn't necessarily just mean record, because I have a clear and vast difference between TikTok, Tennessee fan. What's up, man? There's a clear difference between a good team and then home field advantage. There's a clear difference. And the way I like to differentiate is, I mean, sure, a team can win every single home game because they're a freaking good team. All right. I think of like Alabama, Georgia, whatnot. But are they really getting that much help from their crowd? And here's how I would answer that. How many penalties are being forced in the game on the away team? How many delay of games? How many false starts are being caused because the crowd is just so loud that you literally have no idea what's going on when you're on the field? I think of Alabama, Tennessee last year. Think about the very first series when Alabama and Jalen Milroe were on the field. And like, I think it was the very first play was a false start. Mm-hmm. And then they immediately get set behind the chains. And then I don't know how it happened, but at some point it was a third down, and I think they fumbled the ball because they were trying to rush to not get a delay a game or something. Like it's things like that completely, like that to me, I'm like, okay, Tennessee's got a great defense, but like that was completely on the fans. Like 100%, that was home field advantage. And so I'm going to try to rank my places top 10, not based on who's got the best team, but who's seriously got the best home field advantage when it comes to their fans affecting the game.
Yeah, and
agreed or not?
Oh, absolutely. And I was looking at my list here, making sure that I was good with what I wanted. And my number 10, I'll go first on this one if you want me to.
Go for it.
My number 10, I just swapped because you talking through that, I was like, you know what? My number 10 does not embody that. And I'll give you a spoiler.
So I was speaking some facts and whatnot.
Well, I'll give you a spoiler who my number 10 was before I changed it. It was Sanford Stadium, which is Georgia.
Okay.
And Georgia does get loud. Georgia is also very good at home. That is due to coaching, due to the team, and all that. But Georgia's crowd does not induce a ton of those penalties, like the false starts and things like that. And by no means am I saying that Georgia is not loud. I mean, they proved that in 22 whenever Eric Ainge, came out famous on the radio and said, "Oh, the Vols will be fine in Athens." Georgia fans showed out on that one, and Athens is loud, but the fans don't make that as tough a place to play as the team itself and as the coaching staff does. So my number 10, because of the fans, how rowdy they get, they have the infamous, the tomahawk chop. It is Doak Walker Stadium for Florida State.
I respect that take because, man, I don't know how you picked that stadium after last year's performance. But again, that's a bad team, not bad home field advantage. I think you're 100% right. It is a raucous environment. And yeah, that's very solid. I'm gonna go straight into mine. My number 10 is Willie B Stadium, Williams-Brice Stadium, Sandstorm. Yeah, dude, that place at night is very underrated. I hate South Carolina. I could care less for them. I think it has a lot to do with the previous coach there. You know who I'm talking about. But there's no denying when they play Darude Sandstorm, it's the most annoying thing ever when the freaking Gamecock or the Rooster does its crow thing on third down. Like it's annoying, but it's loud and it affects the game. And it's a very underrated home field advantage that I don't think gets talked about enough.
I mean, just look at, I absolutely hate bringing this game up. 2022, Tennessee, South Carolina.
Why? Why would you bring it up? I don't feel like you hate bringing it up when you just brought it up that easily. Like, I don't. It's fine.
I absolutely hate it. But I mean, the crowd absolutely played a part in that because South Carolina, they started off early.
They fed off of that.
Hot,
they fed
off of it. And Tennessee just couldn't keep up.
That's right.
Not going to mention what else happened there. So, my number 9 on the list, going with one of the biggest stadiums in college football. They have some very weird traditions, but you know what? It gets loud there. It's College Station in Texas A&M.
Ooh, at 9?
At 9.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go right in. My number 9. All right, so 10 was Willie B. Number 9 is the Big House. It's Michigan. It's not really a debate. I think it's firmly in the top 10. Wouldn't give it too much love, but I mean, I hate to say this, but you really only see it at its best when they play Ohio State. But oh my God, is it their best? Like it Absolutely. Is. That place is crazy when they're playing Ohio State. So yeah, Michigan, the Big House, especially when it's that cold. Usually when they're playing each other and they're more raucous. I don't know. It's phenomenal. I think I would like to see it in person, but I'm pretty well thinking that I've seen about the biggest and best environments here at home. Yeah. But it's still, TV does it very, very well. You know, Fox, whoever covers that game, it you know, you talk about shaking. I don't know if they purposely shake the camera, but it gives off the vibe that they are absolutely going bonkers. So yeah, Big House, Michigan, number 9.
Yeah. My number 8, I'm going with another ACC school, and there's really only one other one that you can bring up when it comes to what the crowd does to affect the game, and that is Clemson. And, you know, they've also been very good as of recently as well, which makes it that much better because the team's been good, which makes them hard to beat at home. The fans feed off of that. Death Valley, Clemson, that is number 8 on my list for the toughest stadiums to play.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm going to go my number 8. Where do I want to go with this? I think I didn't make my list. I'm kind of shooting from the hip here. But I think my number 8 is, I'm going to shoot for it. It's probably getting too much love for me on this one. But I'm going to go Jordan Hare at Auburn is my number 8.
Yeah.
It's hard to think about it right now because the team's down. But the place is still hard to play. Ask Georgia. Even Georgia in their best years and Auburn's worst years, Auburn still somehow pushes them to the brink.
Ask Alabama. And Alabama. Yeah.
Ask Alabama. When that stadium gets up, man, are they up, and it affects the game in a big way. And magical things happen in Jordan Hare. Well, not last year, but most of the time.
I mean, just think of the different amazing moments. Hold up. So, breaking news real quick. Tennessee guard Chaz Lanier has been selected by the Detroit Pistons in round 2 of the NBA draft. So,
was that pick 37? Because that was like the exact projection I was hearing was the 5th pick.
Now it didn't pull up which pick it was. It just
Okay.
said drafted by the Pistons.
Well,
But
I was
shout
listening
out.
to us. Yeah, I was. Thank you so much for that update. But like, I was listening to a sports talk show this morning, and they were like, he's projected the 5th pick in the 2nd round to go to the Detroit Pistons. So I wonder if that was pick 37. But either way, that's huge. I mean, right at the top of the 2nd round. That's probably fair. I don't think he was 1st round material. He's got the talent. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
he'll be in the league.
I agree. But going back to Jordan Hare, you just think of all the different moments that have happened in the past, 10, 15 years. Or you got the Prairie O'Hare against Georgia. I remember watching that game. I believe that was en route to was that the same season as the kick six? Like, did both of those happen in the same season? Because wasn't that the year that they made the national title game and lost to Florida State,
Was
led
it
by Jameis Winston,
was it Nick
2014?
Marshall?
Nick
Nick
Marshall, yes.
Marshall. It might
I
have
bel
been.
I believe both of those happened in the same year because it was like within a couple of weeks too. And it's like, how lucky can Auburn get? Uh, but yeah, just Auburn's definitely a tough place to play. So that's a good one at number 8 there. Number 7, I'm gonna go with an SEC school that the fans get rowdy, but also you think about the environment there and just how tough it is to play in it, especially in the warmer months of September, and I'll even throw in October there as well. It is the Swamp. The Swamp is
Yeah,
a tough
that's
place to play. I mean, you see, it's got to be tough because even in some of Florida's worst years, Tennessee has gone down there, been a better team, and gotten beat. They have yet to win in the Swamp since the year 2003, 22 years ago.
yeah. I'm not even
That's
gonna lie.
insane.
That was my number 7. So I'm gonna keep on. I'm gonna just go with a 6. The Swamp is very much validated. That is. I don't know what more you can say. No team wishes to be there in September or
And
October.
it sucks that Tennessee always had to go there in September.
Not this year. We're going in November, baby. I don't know why, but I'll take it. Any little bit helps. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? All right. So my number 6, I think it's a safe pick. But I'm gonna go with, and I hate to give them credit, but I mean, Bryant-Denny is pretty nice. I mean, they have a good home field advantage. They got a good crowd. They got great teams. I think that does help a lot. But I think they're also a bit entitled. If you could ever be like Joe Burrow and get up on them nice in the first half or something, boy, you could shut them down in a heartbeat. I've never seen a fan base cross so much so early. But Tennessee doesn't Tennessee doesn't do that often. They did with Milton. They got up 20-7 going in a half, and then you see what happened in the second half.
Don't remind me.
But you made me remember South Carolina, big dog. You can handle
That's
that
fair.
game.
Yeah.
So Bryant-Denny is going to be my number 6. It is a solid home field advantage.
Bryant-Denny didn't make my list.
That's okay. I never said that your list was good, so I mean it's fine.
It's not good, but also, and not saying that Bryant-Denny doesn't get loud, but I feel like there's a lot of other stadiums that get louder, and Alabama's home field advantage was so good because of how good they were under Nick Saban, which is the only reason they didn't make my list. If they continue to stay loud, even through the Kalen DeBoer years, if they continue to, I won't say struggle, but not meet expectations, then I will absolutely change that list to put Alabama higher on it. But right now, that's why they don't make my top 10. My number 6, this is where I've got the big house, Michigan. Skylar already mentioned a lot of the points. They really, really get up for that one game, and that is the game against Ohio State. It's an environment that I would actually like to experience. I would probably like to experience the horseshoe a little bit more, just because I would rather root for Ohio State than
Let me tell
Michigan.
you this.
So
You don't want to experience in December 20th. That
yeah,
sucks.
you did get to experience that. So.
Respect. I had a player watching earlier that played that night, and I loved watching him. I would watch him over and over and over again. But I tell you what, in 5-degree weather and you're getting blown out by 30 points, let me tell you, that was that place was rocking, dude.
Yeah, but the Big House, that's where I have them at number 6, and there's a reason that they are called the Big House. It's the biggest stadium in college football right now, and they do get up for other games, but they really get up and going for that Ohio State game. So that's why I have the Big House at number 6.
Number 5, you already said it, but that is Kyle Field, College Station. Look, that place sits, I think, the most fans. They get the absolute most rowdy. I hate their cheerleader things, but whatever. Um, they are very loud. They deserve to be in the top 5. They do change a complexity of a game. If you don't believe me, just watch the Texas A&M game. I mean, I know that's like the extreme, but that's what we're talking about here. When the stadium is at its best, how good is it? And Texas A&M is in the top 5 in my opinion. It's an amazing field built by none other than Johnny Manziel, but we ain't going to talk about that. It just what a crowd. And to your point about Alabama only being loud when Alabama's good, Texas A&M is loud, and their best years are 9-4. I mean, they're like literally copy and paste mid 20 teens Tennessee, where we were rambunctious for an 8-4 year, and that's exactly what A&M's been, and they're still loud as anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 5 on my list, I've got Death Valley and LSU. And you can argue that this should be higher on the list, but I feel like I've got a good list that's ahead of it. But Death Valley, as long as you don't get them at noon, because you can absolutely go down there and win and dominate at noon, as Tennessee did in 2022. But
It kind of helped that we got a fumble on the kickoff to start the game. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but here's the point I'm getting to. If you get them at noon and you don't get them at 3 o'clock, and especially don't get them at 7 o'clock, those Cajuns down there can't get drunk out of their minds and just go crazy. They got to build up to it, and they hadn't had enough time by the time noon rolls around. So,
But at their best,
they are absolutely one of the loudest, one of the most rambunctious environments out there. Which is why LSU made my top 5. And like I said, you can arguably put this one higher, possibly even at number 1. But I've got LSU at number 5 on my list.
possibly a number 1. Number 4 is the Horseshoe. OSU. I did get to experience this one in person in a time where, as a away team, you did not want to experience it. The crowd's insane. They're I am not to say jealous, but I loved their chants OHIO, right? So like they have each side of the stadium say a letter and it kind of goes in a circle. So like you'd have, home field side say O, and then the end zone H, other side I, and then O, and then they just kind of kept going around. And then they do it like 3 times and you're like, okay, all right. And then they do it like 4 times. And it's like, dang, when are they going to stop? And there's like 7 times. And it's like, oh my God, it's just not going to stop. And they just kept freaking doing it. Again, sorry, it's bringing back some old memories, but like it was kind of cool. They were crazy. They were rambunctious. It was freezing cold. It didn't matter. They're used to it. I get it. But I experienced the Horseshoe. It was top 5 material. It was solid. It was great. It was big, but I feel like there is some wasted space in that because of the Horseshoe structure. I feel like there's wasted space. They could pack a lot more people in there if they just like finish it. But for what they've got and how they do it and the way they keep it original, it's a solid place to play.
Number 4 on my list, I'm going with Autzen Stadium out in Eugene, Oregon.
No shot. No, this is the first hell. Excuse me. Heck no. Absolutely not. A stadium that holds 60,000 people?
But do you know how loud those 60,000 get
No,
out there?
I don't care. That's because they're 15,000 feet of elevation. No shot. It's
But
fine.
they
Your
absolutely
opinion
make a
matters.
difference
I
out
respect it, but
there. Yeah.
absolutely not.
So Autzen Stadium makes my list at number 4 there because of how
You
rambunctious
put that
that
over
60,000
LSU?
gets. That is probably a hot take. I should have put Autzen down below LSU, but I've got Oregon at number 4 there because of how loud that 60,000 gets out there, which totally affects the game. And plus, it's very hard to win out in Oregon because of the environment as well. You know, you mentioned how high they are in elevation. The team is always good out there as well. It's so hard to win at Austin Stadium. So they make it at number 4 on my list.
Just expected better out of you. I mean, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. You know, like I just want you to know. That's crazy.
That's fine.
Number 3 is very specific, but it is the whiteout Penn State, the whiteout game in particular. But is it Beaver Stadium?
Yeah, Beaver Stadium.
The whiteout version of Beaver Stadium is top 3 material. That is just the scene, everything about it. I don't know. It's iconic, and shame on James Franklin for having everything at your fingertips except making a run for a natty, or beating Ohio State. But whatever. Beaver Stadium, number 3.
So I'll move on to number 2 here in just a minute because my number 3 is also Beaver Stadium.
Hey,
and I'm not just gonna go with the whiteout because I mean the whiteout is something that absolutely has to be experienced. And
it's like not equivalent to, but kind of like the checker kneeling thing.
Yes, I mean it's you're right. It's different, but it's similar as far as you know what it means. But they do get up and they get loud for the other games as well. And then if you're not Ohio State, if you're not Michigan, you know, how many teams have actually come into Beaver Stadium and won in, you know, forever? It's not many of them.
No. I mean, Penn State has been a comfortable 3rd place team in the Big Ten forever.
Yes. So Beaver Stadium, number 3 on my list. So I'm going to move ahead to number 2, and that is where I have Neyland Stadium. You know, obviously because of how loud it gets in there. I mean, we've already mentioned they hold the record for the highest decibel count ever recorded at a college football game.
And you still put them at number 2.
I did. I put them at number 2.
That's the second disappointment. That's straight 2.
Because, you know, granted, you think of how bad a lot of the teams have been, but how many teams can still come into Neyland Stadium and, you know, sneak out a win? Not in the Josh Heupel era, mind you. The only team that's been able to do that is Georgia.
Yeah.
That's the only team.
That is the only team.
But you think about going back even to whenever Philip Fulmer was a head coach. There'd be teams like Georgia or Florida or Alabama that would come in there and still sneak out a win, even with that rambunctious environment. So that's the only thing keeping them from number 1 on my list is because even though it is so tough to play there, teams still can come in and have success, just not as of lately unless you're Georgia.
Yeah, and before all the haters and fact checkers come in, I do understand that Josh Heupel went 7-6 in the first year, but like we had like a 30-something sem-odd scholarship deficit. Like that doesn't count. Ever since the 2021 season, Josh Heupel's been money at home, to be honest with you. He went undefeated last year at home.
He only one loss a year. No,
one loss to Georgia and 8-4 year, right?
Let's see. Yes,
because he lost to Alabama on the road, Florida on the road, South Carolina, Missouri on the road. I don't know. I can't remember the 4th team. But anyways, so yeah, and then the year before that, we only lost to Georgia at home, and then South Carolina on the road. So yeah, no, that's a solid. I was disappointed in you because you can tell the top 3 were locked in because that is my number 2, is UT. Solely because I didn't want to be a homer and just put them at number 1, but I do feel like Neyland is the best environment in college football. If you haven't experienced Neyland, go. Don't go on like a Florida week. It's pretty hostile, but only because Florida makes it. It's not like we I don't know, whatever. Just go any other week.
Even if you go to a ETSU or a Ball State or something like that, for the first half of the game, it is absolutely unreal.
It's
now the second half is not because the stadium's half empty, but because Tennessee's up by 50 at that point.
No, you know just as much as I do. It doesn't matter who's on the other side of that sideline. that first drive when we're on defense,
Yes. It
my
gets
God,
loud.
it literally does not matter who we're playing. It could be UT Martin for all I care. And that first possession for UT Martin, they might as well just punt on first down. Like it is terrible. So yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and go to my number one. I have to like click on like TikTok to verify I'm still here. That's so dumb. But anyways, sorry, I just read a comment on TikTok that made me chuckle a little bit. Anyways, I'm gonna go to my number one, and that is, you've already mentioned it. It's Death Valley. It's LSU, the real Death Valley, not Clemson. That place at night, in my opinion, deserves to be number one. It's one of the best, and I will say this, for the longevity of the program and whatnot, and like it's been the best. Like it's not like up and coming; it's just taken over. I think for the longest of times, and you can even ask Nick Saban this, going to Baton Rouge at night, there's just not much better than it. A bunch of raging Cajun. I can't say that because that's another Louisiana school, but a bunch of Cajuns, Louisiana folk.
A bunch of drunk Cajuns.
Yeah. That's why I said raging, because but I realized that that's a mascot of another team. But no, I like there's just not much. And then the tiger. I can't remember the name of the tiger, but the tiger.
Mike the Tiger.
Mike the Tiger. I should have known that. Having him, I don't know, like just everything about that environment, even when they've not been great. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, under Brian Kelly, they've been okay, but they've not been great. And they still like seem, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Brian Kelly's under a lot of pressure this year. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, LSU's got my top spot.
And see, the only reason I didn't have LSU higher as well is I feel like just over the last couple of years, the environment has fell off slightly.
Well,
and I don't know if it's because of LSU not being as good or what it is. Now,
I think
they did show up for, I think it was the Ole Miss game when they brought the live tiger out again, the first time they've done that in years.
Yep.
But other than that,
can we be honest?
Not that it's been a disappointment, but it just hadn't been to that level that we used to see growing up.
Can I be honest?
Environment.
Do we think the leadership of LSU, when they decided to move on from Coach O immediately after Natty, just because they did have a down year, do you think some folks, especially fans, kind of felt rubbed the wrong way about that decision, and kind of like, not that they've fallen off, they're never going to stop cheering for their team, but almost like especially right after, like, I feel like Joe Burrow and his like Heisman was basically like, Coach O deserves a job for life. This dude has literally pulled me from being a third, fourth stringer at Ohio State to being the Heisman front runner, national championship type. Like, that's the type of coach he is. And then not even 12 months later get canned because they did have a down year. But you had a guy like Joe Burrow. I mean, it's not easy to recruit quarterbacks behind a guy that you know is the crap. And so, not that I'm giving excuses for him, but Coach O, who really fit, I mean, just he was LSU, right? Like everything about him. And so I almost feel like that the fan base, I don't know, they kind of like lost a little bit of its luster when they lost their coach, in my opinion.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, even going down to, he was LSU. I mean, the dude literally spoke like a Cajun guy. I mean, go Tigers. So I mean, he embodied it. So I do think you hit the nail on the head there. There was, some luster that was lost from fans there at LSU whenever that happened. Do I think that they made the right decision moving on from Orgeron? Yes, but not the way that they did. I don't feel like Orgeron is a fantastic coach or even a great coach, but he had the right set of circumstances, the right players around him, and just ran that too, and just ran roughshod over the entire league with arguably one of, if not the best team of all time, en route to a national championship. But I absolutely do think that they could have gone about it better and not fired him the year after just because of a down season, especially with that year being a COVID year. I mean, what do you expect going into a COVID year like that? But my number one is where I've got the Horseshoe. And the reason I have them at number one.
Be kidding me.
The reason I have them at number one
because they won the Natty and you're riding.
No, absolutely not.
Whatever.
Absolutely not. It is because Ohio State is always good, whether that be coaching, whether that be the players, whatever that may be. But you look at this past year, you talked about just how rambunctious that environment was, and especially with it being on December the 20th, it was just miserable. But also, over half of the fan base was ready to absolutely, they were ready to riot over the fact that Ryan Day still had a job because of the outcome of the game just weeks earlier. But they were still there. They were ready to cheer on their team,
60% of them.
make it the loudest environment. But
Was pretty
how?
loud for
But
60%.
I was gonna say, how loud was that 60%?
No,
So
it was decent. I'll give them credit for that, but they still didn't show up.
yeah. So I mean that's why I have Ohio State at number one, is because of how passionate that fan base is, even when they're not happy with some of the decisions being made around them.
Oh, it wasn't decisions. It's just they can't be they can't be Michigan.
Yeah. So I mean,
that is something that's still gonna hang over Rondé's desk. They won
Yeah.
an Natty, and it's gonna have an asterisk, and it's gonna be lost to the team up north. That's tough.
I mean, there is still people that say fire Ryan Day because they lost to that team up north.
It like puts
But
a stain on that brand new trophy, bro. Like,
I will say, so I talked to Eric here recently. I said, so is Chris finally come down off his fire Ryan Day high? He said, I've got him down off the high for right now. But one loss that Ohio State should not have this year, and he's going to be right back on that train.
That's right. That's right.